Who should Manchester United sign instead of Declan Rice? So in this video I will firstly cover why Manchester United may want to sign a player like Declan Rice, then I'll analyse a high priced alternative, a value for money alternative and an outside of the box option for United to sign instead of Declan Rice. For cheap good quality football jerseys, retro jerseys and tracksuits, go over to www.jerseyfever.com, a link will be left in the description, and use code ATLANTISFOOTBALL for 5% off. This video was edited by Soccer Factor. I've written a video on his channel about how Declan Rice could potentially fit into the Manchester United side if signed. So if you want to see that video, I'll leave it linked in the description below, and remember to subscribe to his channel as well. So why would Manchester United want to sign Declan Rice? Well, Rice is a type of central midfielder that United don't currently have in their squad. That is an out-and-out ball winner in central midfield. Matic was this kind of player a few seasons ago, but he no longer has the athleticism or aggression to be an elite ball winner. Fred is a good pressing central midfielder, but doesn't have the one-on-one defending ability needed to break up counter-attacks in the centre of the park. And like McTominay as well, they are good ball-winning, pressing central midfielders, but they are not elite defensively, so you couldn't use either McTominay or Fred as an anchor man in a single pivot, or alongside a more adventurous midfielder like Pogba, which is why Solskjaer often resorts to using a McFred midfield double pivot in big games, rather than either alongside Pogba. Overall, signing a player like Rice would enable Solskjaer to move away from a more conservative midfield double pivot towards one where either Pogba or another creative central midfielder can function their best. Rice would certainly allow Solskjaer to do this, but given that West Ham would likely charge an extortionate amount, upwards of 50 million, most likely up to 60 million, I don't think that United should move for him, considering not only is he massively overpriced, but I think there are much better ball-winning central midfielders on the market. So I will primarily be analysing what I consider to be ball-winning central midfielders, which is what Declan Rice is. The job of this player is primarily to win the ball back, high up the pitch and in both the middle and defensive third. Yes, it's a bonus if they are a creative player, but they don't need to have Toni Kroos-like chance creating and passing abilities, though forward passing ability, press resistance and overall a high level of competence on the ball is crucial, as this is a central midfielder for Manchester United we are looking for, not one for Burnley or Sheffield United. Also, this is not me saying that United should sign these specific players, or even specifically a ball-winning central midfielder, but if Solskjaer came to me and wanted to find a better option to Declan Rice, these are the players I would suggest. If you want to see who I'd actually sign in United central midfield, subscribe and click the bell because I will hopefully be releasing that video next week. So let's get into the first option, which is the high priced option. Declan Rice, as I said, would likely cost around £60 million. So can I find a better option? Well, 60 million is a shitload of cash. So with that, you need to be targeting an elite, world-class ball-winning central midfielder who's in a discussion of being one of the best in the world. My top 5 ball-winning central midfielders would be 1. N'Golo Kante, 2. the player I'm about to suggest, 3. Rodri, 4. Fabinho and 5. Casemiro. That isn't a definitive top 5 list, I may have left someone out, so don't crucify me in the comments. But second on that list and my high-priced alternative is Wilfred Ndidi. Now I don't think it's controversial to say that Ndidi along with Kante are 2 of the best defensive midfielders, ball-winning midfielders, whatever you call it, in the Premier League, and the stats back this up. So the key statistics for ball-winning central midfielders obviously are tackles, tackle success rate and interceptions, and when it comes to these, Ndidi absolutely dominates. This season in the Premier League, Ndidi completed 4 tackles per 90, the most of any Premier League player, whilst only being dribbled past 1.7 times per 90, giving him an impressive tackle success rate of around 71%. He also completed the most interceptions in the league with 2.5 per 90, showing just how good Ndidi is when it comes to winning the ball back from the opposition. Declan Rice completes 1.8 interceptions per 90, ranking 9th when we look at every Premier League central midfielder, and has completed 1.8 tackles per 90, whilst being dribbled past 0.9 times per 90, giving him a tackle success rate of 50%. Ndidi is a modern day Claude Makelele. His job is very simple, to win the ball back and shift it onto the more creative players. He doesn't have the incisive or long passing ability of other players on this list, but if United want a pure ball winner who can sit behind the play as an anchor man, ready to move out and break up counter attacks or join the press to win the ball back high up the pitch, then without doubt Ndidi is a better option than Declan Rice, and considering both would likely cost around the £60 million mark, it seems like a no-brainer to spend that money on the 24-year-old Nigerian international. My second option is a player that I think is best value for money out of the 3 alternatives to Declan Rice. He is Eduardo Camavinga, who, to be fair to him, is a lot more than just a ball winner, and I'll come on to why in a minute, but when it comes to winning the ball back, Camavinga excels. He has the athleticism combined with the aggression to be able to race across midfield and put in a well-timed sliding or standing tackle to win the ball back, and that's backed up by the stats. In Ligue 1 this season, Camavinga completed the 7th most tackles of any central midfielder with 3.6 per 90, only being dribbled past 1.4 times per 90, and therefore giving him a tackle success rate of 72%. Now, whilst he is a very good tackler, his reading of the game does still need to improve, but he is just 18 at the moment, so this is a part of his game that will get better, and he will no doubt be making more interceptions than the 0.8 per 90 he made last season. But the main reason why I think Camavinga is a much better alternative to Rice is 1, the price, 2, potential, and 3, on the ball ability. So firstly, Rice will cost at least £60 million. However, Camavinga has just 1 year left on his Rennes contract, and Ligue 1 clubs are in some financial difficulty after the TV rights deal collapsed last year, so I think Camavinga will definitely be available for around £30 million, despite the media publications quoting a fee of around £85 million, which anyone who knows anything about player contracts and the transfer market can tell you is completely unrealistic, as no matter how good a player is, considering his contract situation and the club that he's at, there's no way he's going for £85 million. Secondly, Declan Rice does have the potential to be a very good defensive-minded midfielder, but I cannot see him at the moment progressing into an elite central midfielder on the same level as the likes of Ndidi, N'Golo Kante or Rodri. However, I think that Camavinga has the potential not just to be one of the best defensive-minded midfielders in the world, but also one of the best deep-lying creative midfielders in the world, which will bring me on to my next point, and is why I think signing Camavinga makes a lot more sense in the long run than signing Declan Rice. And finally, which links to my last point, Camavinga is much better on the ball than Declan Rice. The problem I see with Rice is that he often takes the easy sideways pass in order to circulate possession, which is the best option 90% of the time, but to be an elite central midfielder you need to be able to progress the attack with vertical passes into players between the lines, or long passes over the back line or out to the flanks. This makes a player a lot more valuable than simply just a ball winner, as it directly allows a side to move the ball into the final third more often, and this is what Camavinga does. An example is here. The ball gets played into him in a deeper position in the middle third. Now, what players like Ndidi or Rice may have done in this situation is receive the ball, turn out and play a simple pass to retain possession. But what Camavinga does is he makes sure his first touch is forward to give him the momentum to then glide past the oncoming opposition presser, and then when he gets into this position, he sees the player between the lines and plays an incisive pass. And now the side have gone from the middle third with the whole opposition side in front of them to the attacking third with the ball in behind the midfield. So you can see why Camavinga can be a lot more valuable than a more limited on the ball defensive minded midfielder like Rice or Ndidi. Now, my final pick is an outside of the box option, and it's Monaco's 21-year-old Frenchman Aurélien Tchouameni. Now, Tchouameni is much more of an Ndidi type of ball winner than Camavinga. He is as good a dribbler as Camavinga, but he certainly doesn't have his passing range, which I will come on to shortly. But in terms of ball winning, Tchouameni could definitely become as good as the likes of Ndidi and Kante in the next few seasons. He is a great reader of the game, knowing when and where to push out of the midfield to apply pressure, while simultaneously closing off passing lanes in behind him, which can be seen here, where the pass goes into Mbappe, and Tchouameni recognises that he can't allow Mbappe to have space, so moves out instantly anticipating the pass, and is therefore able to confront Mbappe on his first touch. He doesn't dive in or overcommit himself, instead he holds his ground, shuttles Mbappe out to the touchline, where he can then dispossess him. Statistically, Tchouameni is just as impressive as Camavinga is. He completed 3.7 tackles per 90 this season, the 5th most of any central midfielder in Ligue 1, and the same amount as Idrissa Gueye, whilst also completing 1.8 interceptions per 90, the 14th most. But even when we compare him to every other player in Europe's top 5 leagues, we can see that he has completed a total of 206 tackles and interceptions over the course of the whole season, the joint most of any player in Europe, which just goes to show what a talent this guy is. He's also a fantastic long passer, able to spray passes from deep out to the flanks, which is another valuable attribute of his game. I'd say that a fee between the regions of £30 to £35 million should be enough to get Tchouameni, which like Camavinga is excellent value for money. So overall, if United want to spend 60 million on a ball-winning central midfielder, Ndidi is the man, and certainly a better option than Declan Rice. Camavinga is probably the best overall option because of his potential and his deep-lying creative ability, but Tchouameni as well, even though he isn't as refined as Ndidi defensively and doesn't have Camavinga's creativity at the moment, he could still be one of the best defensive-minded midfielders in the world by the time he is 24 or 25. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed that video, remember to subscribe to the channel and click the bell. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and check out some of my other videos linked in the description below, as well as Soccer Factor's video on how Declan Rice would fit into the United side.